Good day and welcome to another Monday segment of A Week at the Plot. Another new week already. And I have to say, this afternoon feels rather different to all of last week. This morning it was quite grey at home and quite cool, but around midday the sun came out and it's really quite warm out there. I think it's about 18 degrees outside. The shed thermometer says it's 27.5 degrees in here. Not quite sure why there'd be such a wide differential, but maybe my thermometer's not working. That is something I've thought about before. But yeah, it's definitely about 17 or 18 degrees outside. Though, because there's a lot of work going on at the pub opposite, it's quite noisy out there at the moment. I can't wait for that to finish. And also because of the breeze, I think that'll be quite noisy on camera. So I'm hoping to be able to show you from inside the shed what I want to do. And it's not a shed job. Yesterday afternoon, I spent about 2 hours doing the weeding on my hands and knees and with a hand fork of these 4 pocket beds, about half an hour per bed. And I'm really pleased now with the quality of that soil. I'm going to do a soil test at some point on both that or these, one of these, and the tomato bed, but that will be in the weeks to come. What I've decided to do today is to put the mint into here. And I've also decided that I'm going to do it long ways. I thought about doing it that way, but I just suddenly thought about doing it this way. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, no, I've just got a thought. I'm going to do it there. I'm going to do it there. Because if I'm sitting in the shed, I'll be able to see other things here. And then that there, where if I put the mint here, when it grows up, I won't be able to see from the shed that area there. So I'm going to put it here. Gosh. Thinking as we go along. So mint is really quite invasive and the roots spread underground very easily. So what I'm going to do is dig a hole here, the size of this tub, and then I'm going to sink the whole tub into the hole. So I'm just going to get on and do that, and then you'll be able to see it afterwards. Finally, we have that mint sunk into the ground. It'll take a few weeks to settle in and settle down. It'll most probably level off a little bit. I'm talking about the actual mint container. And what we were doing just now is making sure that around the edging, the soil had been put back and well compacted back into place. So that job is done. Yay! Oh, I'm really pleased about that. And I think it allows us to do something along the front here as well. Put some different herbs in. Yeah. Gosh, and that took a bit longer than I had anticipated as well. Yeah, that took quite a bit longer than anticipated. Mainly because there's quite a few people down here today and there's been quite a lot of chatting going on. One of my fellow plot holders who does a huge amount for the site, he's an engineer and is brilliant. He came over and has given me a book. So this is My Life on a Hillside Allotment by Terry Walton. He asked me whether I'd like to read it a week or so ago, and I said yes, that sounds right up my street. Some of you may know Terry Walton already. I know that I've seen him on a couple of programs. Don't know a lot about him, but I'm looking forward to reading this book. And then we were talking about the paddock area that we've got here. That is no longer a paddock area because our horses have gone off to a lovely family farm in Lincolnshire. So we're going to be turning the paddock area into more growing space. And I was talking to him about some plans for that. And we then got on to the topic of water butts, as one does when the water goes back on. And he's got a spare water butt. And the other day, one of our fellow plot holders was saying she would like a water butt for her shed. So I've linked the two of them up. And now the other person has got the water butt on her plot, which is great. Another plot holder behind me was asking me what seeds she was sowing, because I gave her various bean seeds last year and I was pointing out which they were. So she started sowing those now. We'll be sowing ours in a couple of weeks. And then another plot holder, when I went to another plot to just check something out, there was another plot holder that I spoke to. So it's been one of those chatty days. So actually what you've seen me do, it mostly took me about half an hour, which I think was more time than I had imagined it would take me. But actually it's taken me an hour and a half because of the other chats that I've been having, which of course is part of allotment life. So pleased to have that done, pleased to have that sunk in the ground, and I'm looking forward to what else we're going to be planting in there. We obviously have some coriander coming up and we have some parsley coming up. So it's quite likely we'll put some of that there because I think that's going to be more a herby bed. So the one in front of us by the shed, in front of the shed here, the small bed we've got is flowers and herbs and kiwi and things like that. That one I think is just going to be a herb bed until, of course, I change my mind. Anyway, changing my mind will wait for another day, and I will leave you now. I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and day if you're on Planet Vegetaria, and have a great week if you're watching this as the first segment of A Week at the Plot on YouTube. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day. It's really quite hot today. It's about 24 degrees at the moment. And it's a good day to unravel our hose completely and check it for any holes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. The black dustbin on the right, I've actually been using as a dunking water barrel for about 3 years now, I think. And as you can see, I wind the hose around it because we don't have a hose winder coiler thing. And this works okay for us. On the left is a blue water barrel that I came across on the street the other day on the way to my plot. And it had a "please take me" note on it. So I took it. So what I'm going to do is unravel the hose completely, and then I'm going to swap these two barrels around. So the blue one will be on the outside and the black one will be on the inside. The black one I still want to keep because it's got a wider aperture at the top for dipping my larger watering can into. So yeah, I'm just going to swap them round. But first, time to unwind that hose. I've now laid the hose fully out. I'm just going to leave it like that for about 5 minutes to warm up. It feels pretty warm at the moment and flexible, which is great. And then I'm going to turn the tap on and check the whole length of the hose for any leaks. Obviously, the only bit of the hose I want water to come out of is the green sprayer end. A little drip there, but that's okay. Oh, let me just tell you about this. This isn't, this white bit isn't a repair of a leak. It's actually a marker so that I know that from there I can drag the hose down to that white marker, because that's the length to the water butt. So yeah, it's just a marker. Let's carry on. My shadow. Great. I'm just going to check it again. These two have now been really washed out, because it's really sensible to give the inside of your water barrels a good clean if you can each year. The one on the left is now full. The dustbin is now full, and there are a couple of trays on top of it to stop anything jumping in. And I'll also be putting some type of plant in a pot on top of that too. The barrel on the right is coming up to being almost full. And I guess you could ask the question, why do I need these dipping tanks when I have a hose? Well, the reason being is I want to get the hose out when I want to water everything, but I can use the dipping tanks in the meantime to water the polytunnel or just specific plants, which saves me getting the hose out in full each time, or of course going to the tap with my watering can. Anyway, I can see that the water is getting near the top now, so I'm going to say goodbye. Oh, butterfly. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you tomorrow for another segment of A Week at the Plot. Bye. Good day. And today is the day that we take the next step in our highly scientific experiment of whether different cereal packets that loose de Otono broad beans have been sown into will produce different flavoured or different types of strength of plants. Let me show you what they look like now. Here we have our loose de Otono broad beans in their selection box cereal packets from a well-known brand. So these are bog standard cornflakes, and quite a nice root system developing there. Then next to it we have multigrain shapes. A bit delayed. This one here was a bit delayed in germination, and you can see no roots coming out. I was hoping with multigrain they might be stronger and healthier, but no. Then we've got frosted flakes. Look at that root there. Those are certainly developing a root system. Will it stand up? No, let me put it to the back. And then finally, we have the chocolatey pops. And yeah, those roots are doing fine too, and so strong it bursts the back. Look at that. Right, now we're going to write the labels up, because when we put these in the ground, these selection boxes or the cartons are going to be below ground, so we won't know what they are. So first of all, I'm going to write up the labels. Then we're going to plant these up into one of our new pocket beds. In preparation for planting, I've torn off the top about 3/4 of an inch of the carton. The reason being is I want all of this carton, all of the cardboard, to be below ground level. If you put this carton in and had cardboard above ground level, what that will do is it will actually act as a wick, and it will wick the moisture from within the carton and evaporate it off. So it will mean that you'll have to water these an awful lot more. By burying the top of the carton below ground level, so that there's actually soil or compost on top, so up to this level it will be buried by about 3/4 of an inch, that is going to stop the wicking effect as these grow throughout the spring and into early summer. The sun will just dry out the top of the cardboard otherwise, and it will draw moisture from this compost and dry out your carton, which of course is not what we want to happen. Right, let me show you where these are going. This is where those broad beans, as part of our highly scientific experiment, are going to be going. Using half of this bed, this is our garlic. We've got 3 varieties of garlic in here. We've got Vivi's broad beans over here. I've decided not to sow them directly next to the broad beans here, for no other reason than I want to put them here. So now I'm going to dig a hole just a bit deeper than the depth of the carton and pop each of these in and pop their label next to them. This is exactly what we did with the peas last week when we planted out the Oregon sugar pod and train driver mountain range plants. But let me just give you a close-up of me doing one of them at least. Firm them down. Label. This is multigrain. So just below soil level. Firm down. Label. Right, I'm going to do the same with those two now. So there we have it. The next step in our highly scientific experiment of whether different cereal cartons can make a difference to the strength of the growing plants or the taste of the harvest. I wonder what we will find out. Who knows? Right, I'm going to leave it there for today, though I think I might start sowing some more things, which I'll see you for tomorrow for another segment of A Week at the Plot. Bye. What on earth is that? Ugh. No idea what that is. That's a weed, that's a weed. May just be some type of glue on cardboard, maybe. Well, I'm just going to dispose of that. Let's break that off. Gosh, the things you find when you're going to do a simple job. Bizarre. I just wanted to hand weed this area because it hadn't been forked over like other areas, and I want to plant a few things here. So in fact, good day. That was a bit of an unexpected surprise. I was just tickling this soil over and wanted to get those sancfoil bits that had started growing out because this side has not been forked like the side over here has been for the peas. We did some hand forking in January when we put these broad beans from Vivi in, which as you can see are flowering. But I want to put some later ones in, and I have some Grando Violetto broad beans which I wanted to put in, so I thought I'd give this a bit of a hand weed, but didn't expect that elasticy, whatever it was, rubbery elasticy thing. But anyway, that's gardening, isn't it? And that is obviously, well, no, not obviously, I think that's likely in compost and soil that we've put in rather than was here already, but maybe it was brought up with the hand forking in January. Anyway, this is what I want to put in today, these Grando Violetto broad bean seeds, and I'm just going to make a hole with my fingers and pop some in here and some in along here. Hello, bee. I've already got the other plants in as guides, the other broad beans in as guides, so I'm not worrying too much about exactly where these are going. Now they need a water. Gosh, that was a surprise. I mean, just elasticy. Ugh. I really don't know what it was. I mean, I suppose it's a bit of rubber that could have broken down, or something from tape from cardboard. But yeah, not very nice. It's gone in our rubbish and will go in general waste. It's certainly not gone in the compost bins, or even the perennial weed compost bin. So I'm looking at them there. Really glad to have got those seeds in. They will obviously be well behind the others, but we sort of have three stages there at the moment. You'll remember that we were bitten by snow at one point and really cold wind, and that set some of those broad beans that we put in as plants from Vivi on the 1st of January. It set them right back, and they're just shooting again from the base of from the top of the seed, the base of the plant, because the plant grew and then it got frostbitten with that snow and the wind and just broke down, and we cut it back right at the base. And some are now sprouting from that. Some, as you see, are flowering. They weren't affected by the snow and the wind as much. And now we've just put those seeds in, those Grando Violetto seeds. So we've effectively got three different stages of broad beans there, and they will harvest at different times. So yeah, we'll see how they do. The ones behind us over here, the Bunyard exhibition, are still getting away. Some of them are flowering, some of them are at early stages rather, like here. Again, it was that snow and the frost. Anyway, it's overcast, but is getting quite bright. It's supposed to get warm again this afternoon. It's most probably about 13 degrees at the moment, but it's supposed to be higher again later, and then we dip back down for later in the week and the weekend. But yeah, it's quite bright, so I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you again for maybe a bit of pea sowing tomorrow, or maybe not, maybe something else. Okay, bye. Gosh, it is so bright. It really is. See you tomorrow. Good day. No, clearly not at the allotment. We're at one of our favourite places, Aston Rowant and Cowley's Woods. That area up there has been used quite a bit for some episodes of Midsummer Murders. And look what we've got up here. Sheep. Look at them. Aww. Bless. It's really lovely and quiet. They've clearly done a lot of maintenance over the winter here, because it's really been cut down, which is great. Such a great view. It's not sunny at the moment. There was a break of sun a few minutes ago, but not now. But what I am noticing, look at the paths down here, absolutely covered in cracks already. I noticed this actually at the allotment yesterday, that a lot of the places where we've got ground have got cracks already, which just shows you how dry it's already getting. Hey ho. There's Richard coming through there, look. Right, we'll leave it there, and I'll see you back at the plot tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Though Actually, I'm feeling a little flat today, for no particular reason. I've got no reason to be. Richard and I had a fabulous day out or morning out yesterday in the Chilterns and had a lovely time. And nothing has really, nothing bad has happened over the last 24, 36, 48 hours. Um, so I'm not quite sure why I do feel a little flat. I think because we had such a warm day on Tuesday and there was that feeling of we're on our way to summer, and now we've dipped down. It's 7 degrees at the moment. Um, yeah, it's 8 degrees in the shed. It's 7 degrees outside at the moment. It's got a real feel which is below that, and it's going to be 0 this evening. And as we go over the coming days, I think Tuesday gets to be quite a cold day in the forecast at the moment. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to those warmer days where we have more sunshine as well. And yeah, when I was walking down here today, I was just feeling a bit flat. And the lovely thing is, well, lovely in a way, from getting to our front gate to getting and doing this video with you, it's taken me about an hour. So there was chats at the gate with somebody coming in. Then I needed to go and check a padlock because somebody couldn't work a padlock, and we found out why the padlock wasn't opening for her. So being able to help her with that. And then she and I had a really nice chat, as one does on the plot. We were talking about growing, we were talking about family, just doing the things that you normally do. And that was lovely and quite sort of uplifting. And I also decided that today I'm going to be giving some of our Indian perennial kale that we've got. That's a Taunton Dean that many of you will know about if you've been watching us for quite a while. I've propagated the Indian perennial kale, and I've got various plants, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people here want some perennial kale. So I'm going to be divvying that out today because I think it's always good to give. And, that's sort of, that was making me feel a bit better when I was just looking at the side of the shed before I came in. And then I came into the shed and look at this, a tin of natural oil sealer. And it's the person that has given it to me is another plot holder, obviously. I don't, my shed is open. This shed is open. It's shut, obviously, but it's not locked. There's nothing really in this shed, so it doesn't really matter. Fortunately, all of our big electricals for the site are all in a really sturdy communal shed, which is locked up doubly so. But look, and Paul, I've just opened and vigorously stirred the Livis paint I received recently. It had the right green shade on the outside of the tin, but it's pale green. I think this is the shade that you were after. Please take it. Isn't that lovely? I mean, it's perfect because it's a natural paint. It's made with natural oils. Where's it got the, what's it say? It doesn't say what it's made from, but I know it's natural, which is great. And it's a pale green. Can you see that there? It's a pale green. And what he was after is this green here. And it's a much paler green. I'm not sure if you can see that difference. So I think that means that this is going to be changing colour very soon. Isn't that fabulous? Fabulous. Honestly, allotmenteering, I know I've said it before, community. That's what it's about. Community. Just having the right people in your circle of friends, whether they be friends with a big F or with a small f, people that you pass in the street and just say hello to, wave at, admire their dogs or whatever. It's lovely. But I'm just chuffed with this paint, really chuffed with the paint. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to do those Indian perennial kale. I'll then be able to share myself. Like this paint has been shared with me. I'll be able to share with other people my plants. There's some lettuce that I want to share with somebody else as well. And I think I'm just going to be tinkering for an hour or so. Yesterday I was down here at about 5 o'clock, I think. And once the sun had gone down, it got really, really cold. I mean, it felt bitterly cold, and I felt underdressed. And I know that once the sun has dipped below the tree line, even though the sun is not out, once the sun has dipped below the tree line, it will get pretty chilly here. So I've only got about an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half possibly before it's time to go home and have a cup of tea. I brought a cold drink with me today. I should have brought a cup of tea, but I didn't. Never mind. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to have a look at this tin of paint again and dream of a light green shed interior. See you soon. Bye. Good day. Today is going to be a day all about pricking seedlings out. We've got tomatoes, peppers, though if you're on Planet Vegetaria, you'll have seen we did some peppers earlier in the week as well. We've also got Groninger Brussels sprouts, Amish deer tongue lettuce, and Burpee's iceberg. I was going to say golden then. Burpee's iceberg lettuce. What I forgot to bring down today is our aubergine. We've got one aubergine plant that is doing okay and one that's struggling a little. They're not plants at the moment, they're seedlings. So I'll be bringing those down later and pricking those out and putting them into a pot this size. This is also the size of the pot. What size is this pot? I'm not sure. I think it's 9 centimeters wide and square by 11 centimeters deep. I think that's what it is. And our peppers and our tomatoes are going to be going into these, and our aubergine are going to be going into these. Now, all the seeds we are going to be growing, pricking out today and growing on are ones that were sown on the 23rd of February. And in all cases, they've done well. The aubergine, which we sowed a month earlier, we had really quite old seed. I think it was best before 2014. So the germination on that has been pretty sluggish and poor. But we do have, as I say, 2 seedlings that are coming along. So fingers crossed for those. Let me show you the tomatoes and how we're going to prick those out. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking them out of the seed tray that they've been growing in and putting them onto another surface. In this case, I'm just using an upturned old propagator lid. And I will do the same with the peppers, and then I will pop them on into these pots. So we're pricking them out and potting them on. The Brussels sprouts and the lettuce will be going into modules. You could put the Brussels sprouts into these pots as well, but we're using large modules. For the lettuce, we're using smaller modules. But let me just show you the process with the tomatoes and the peppers, and then we'll come on to the pricking out of the lettuce and the Brussels sprouts. I'm just going to take these out gently and pop here. There's 2 here. And the same now with the peppers. These will need a little bit of separation, as you can see they're together, but we can do that as part of the process. Always use these leaves rather than the true leaves to prick out. Right, I've filled these pots up with multi-purpose compost and just tap them down a little bit, not firmly but a little bit, and I'm just making a hole. With tomatoes, they've got lots of hairs here. Those will produce new roots, so you can actually push them down and bury them a bit deeper than they were. Let's just go over here and do this one. So a hole, bigger hole, because this is a bigger one. Look. Push them right down to the bottom of that hole, and then we pot up. As I say, it doesn't matter that the compost for tomatoes is coming up to this set of non-true leaves, the bottom set. And in fact, when these grow on and we plant them out, we will again be planting them deeper. Let's have a look at the peppers now. Again, a hole in, but this one we're not going to bury like the tomato. We're just going to put it in at the same depth. Let's do this one as well. And of course, a nice water to settle those roots in. Here we have more of what we're going to be pricking out. Amish deer tongue lettuce at the front here, then Burpee's iceberg at the back, and then at the front here we have Groninger Brussels sprouts. So these are going to be going into small modules, and these are actually going to be going into much larger modules. Let me just show you those now. The lettuce will be going into these modules here, which are about 2 inches by 2 inches, and the Brussels sprouts into these modules, which I guess are about maybe 3 inches by 3. If you wanted to put the Brussels sprouts into individual pots, like we're doing with the tomatoes and the peppers, then you could do that as well. At this stage, for our lettuce, if you wanted to put them direct into a polytunnel or greenhouse or a sheltered position that you can keep frost free, they will do fine as well. So we're just making the hole, popping these in, and pushing them down. This one's quite a large one. That's our Amish deer tongue, 2 rows at the back, and the burpees iceberg at the front. If there are any areas where you feel maybe a little bit additional compost is needed, just lightly pop it in. We're going to be giving these a good water like we do with most things, and that will settle everything in. Need to get more. Now for our Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are brassicas and they don't mind, like tomatoes, being planted a bit deeper. So you can see how big that seedling is. We're putting it quite deep. Get the roots to the bottom of the hole. Much easier to deal with. They're much sturdier seedlings already, unlike the lettuce, which tend to flop. But that's their nature. Nice root system. Into the hole. Make sure the roots get right to the bottom, and then press in. And put a little bit more in there. I'm doing 9 of these. And really firm them in. Brassicas don't mind being really quite firmed in. Now I'm just doing a additional scattering of compost on top, not firming it down. I'm not sure that's the wood pigeons agreeing with me or not. There we are. That's our Brussels sprouts now pricked out and potted up into their modules. They will be staying in here until they'll be staying in these modules rather, until we plant them out into the ground outside. Though after we've had this cold snap that's due in the next week, I will be putting these outside to harden off and grow on, maybe for about 3 or 4 weeks until they go out into the ground. With the lettuce, we'll be doing similar. And with the tomatoes and the peppers, it's still quite fragile for them to be out or even in the polytunnel at this time of year for us in the south, and certainly for others in the north if there's no additional heat. So we're going to be taking those back home and looking after them at home for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, when hopefully they'll be able to come down to the poly. So there we are. That's how you prick seedlings out, and how we have pricked out our tomatoes, peppers, Groninger Brussels sprouts, and 2 types of lettuce, and how we will be doing our aubergine later on. There was some additional Amish deer tongue and also the Burpees iceberg, and I've put them just down below me here in the bed of the polytunnel. So as I said earlier, if they're in a sort of shelter place, then they'll be okay. And I know they'll be okay down here because we've got other things growing here at the moment. So this is going to be part of our Grow Along series. So we'll put the detail in below about pricking things out, and we'll link in the how to sow videos that we've already done this segment in A Week at the Plot about pricking out and potting on. And actually what we've done today is fine for a whole host of things. If you think we've done lettuce, we've done brassicas with Brussels sprouts, we've done tomatoes, we've done peppers, and the same comes true for aubergine, as I say, and a host of other plants and seedlings rather, which will hopefully grow on into plants. So we'll leave it there today for this segment of Grow Along, and we're also going to leave it there today for the full Sunday of A Week at the Plot. See you for another A Week at the Plot in a week's time if you're watching this on YouTube, and I'll see you for another segment of A Week at the Plot, a Monday segment of A Week at the Plot, if you're on Planet Vegetarian or follow us on our Richard and Paul Facebook page. If you've got any questions, please put them down below. Any comments, any different ways that you might do things as well. Like I've said before, we all know what a Victoria sandwich is like and what it tastes like and what it needs to look like, though there are various different ways of getting to a Victoria sandwich. There's the all-in-one method, there's the creaming of the butter and the sugar, and then adding eggs and flour. So there's different ways of getting to the same thing, and growing is absolutely no different. I'll see you again soon. Bye.